Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. शृण्वतां स्वकतः कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः हृदयन्तस्थो हि अवक्त्राणि विदुनोति श्रुतिसताम् नष्टप्रायेषु अपत्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 21, Text 22, 23. Text 22. अहं दण्डधारो राजा प्रजानाम् इह योजितः रक्षितः वृतीताः स्वेषु सेतुषु स्थापितः पृथक्. Translation. King Prithu continued, by the grace of the Supreme Lord, I have been appointed the king of this planet, and I carry the scepter to rule the citizens, protect them from all danger, and give them employment according to their respective positions in the social order established by Vedic injunction. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A king is supposed to be appointed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to look after the interests of his particular planet. On every planet there is a predominating person, just we now see that in every country there is a president. If one is president or king, it should be understood that this opportunity has been given to him by the Supreme Lord. According to the Vedic system, the king is considered a representative of Godhead and is offered respect by the citizens as God in the human form of life. Actually, according to Vedic information, the Supreme Lord maintains all living entities, and especially human beings, to elevate them to the highest perfection. After many births in lower species, when a living entity evolves to the human form of life, and in particular to the civilized human form of life, his society must be divided into four gradations, as ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam. Bhagavad Gita 4.13. The four social orders, the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras, are natural divisions of human society, and as declared by Prithu Maharaj, every man in his respective social order must have proper employment for his livelihood. It is the duty of the king or the government to ensure that the people observe the social order and that they are also employed in their representative occupational duties. In modern times, since the protection of the government or the king has been withdrawn, social order has practically collapsed. No one knows who is a Brahmana, who is a Kshatriya, and who is a Vaishya or who is a Sudra, and people claim to belong to a particular social order by birthright only. It is the duty of the government to re-establish social order in terms of occupational duties and the modes of material nature, for that will make the entire world population actually civilized. If it does not observe the institutional functions of the four social orders, human society is no better than animal society, in which there is never tranquility, peace, and prosperity, but only chaos and confusion. Maharaj Prithu, as an ideal king, strictly observed the maintenance of the Vedic social order. Prajayate iti praja. The word praja refers to one who takes birth. Therefore, Prithu Maharaj guaranteed protection for Prajanam, all living entities who took birth in his kingdom. Praja refers not only to human beings but also to animals, trees, and every other living entity. It is the duty of the king to give all living entities protection and food. The fools and rascals of modern society has no knowledge of the extent of the responsibility of the government. Animals are also citizens of the land in which they have happened to be born, and they also have the right to continue their existence at the cost of the Supreme Lord. The disturbance of the animal population by wholesale slaughter produces a catastrophic future reaction for the butcher, his land, and his government. Text 23. तस्य मे तद् अनुष्ठानात् यान् आहुर्ब्रह्मवादिनः लोकः श्रेयो काम सन्दोहा यस्यैतुष्यति तिष्ठत्रे. Translation. Maharaj Prithu said, I think that upon the execution of my duties as king, I shall be able to achieve the desirable objectives described by experts in Vedic knowledge. This distinction is certainly achieved by the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and who is the seer of all destiny. Purport. Maharaj Prithu gives special stress to the word Brahma Vadhinaha by the experts in the Vedic knowledge. Brahma refers to the Vedas, which are also known as Shabda Brahma or transcendental sound. Transcendental sound is not ordinary language, although it appears to be written in ordinary language. Evidences from the Vedic literature should be accepted as final authority. In the Vedic literature, there is much information, and of course, there is information about the execution of a king's duty. A responsible king who executes his appointed duty by giving proper protection to all living entities on his planet is promoted to the heavenly planetary system. This is also dependent upon the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. It is not that if one executes his duty properly, he is automatically promoted, for promotion depends upon the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It must ultimately be concluded that one can achieve the desired results of his activities upon satisfying the Supreme Lord. This is also confirmed in the first canto, second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.13. अतः पुंभिर्दिविज श्रेष्ठ वर्णाश्रमविभागस्य स्वांशुतितस्य धर्मस्य समसिद्धिर्हरितोषणम्. The perfection of one's execution of his appointed duties is the ultimate satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. The word Kama Sandoha means achievement of the desired results. Everyone desires to achieve the ultimate goal of life, but in modern civilization, the great scientist thinks that man's life has no plan. This gross ignorance is very dangerous and makes civilization very risky. People do not know the laws of nature, which are the rulings of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because they are atheists of the first order. They have no faith in the existence of God and His rulings, and therefore do not know how nature is working. This gross ignorance of the mass of people, including even the so-called scientists and philosophers, makes life a risky situation in which human beings do not know whether they are making progress in life. According to Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.30, they are simply progressing to the darkest region of the material existence. Adanat Gobhir Visatam Tamishram. The Krishna consciousness movement has therefore been started to give philosophers, scientists, and people in general the proper knowledge about the destiny of life. Everyone should take advantage of this movement and learn the real goal of life. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashata Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I like to seek blessings from all the assembled Vaishnavas and thank you for giving me an opportunity to purify myself. Please forgive me for any shortcomings. There is a well known proverb stating where we generally have heard during our young, young days, where it is said to be as work is worship. The concept of work is worship emphasizes that honest labor and dedicated effort are not just a means to an end, but a way to express one's devotion and find meaning in life. Essentially, it suggests that by engaging fully in our work, we are honoring a higher purpose, whether that's a religious belief or a personal sense of fulfillment. The phrase work is worship can be interpreted in various ways. Some see it as a direct spiritual practice where work becomes an act of devotion and dedication and service to God or a higher power. Others view it as a way to find meaning and purpose in life, even if their work isn't directly religious in nature. Here in today's verses, we see that Prithu Maharaj sets an example of performing his duty as a king by taking care of his subjects and making sure all people in his kingdom are engaged in activity according to their Varnashrama Dharma. Here, point to be noted that this is not limited to humans. It is applicable for all living entities, be there whether in the form of trees or animals. There's a symbiotic relationship prevails among all living entities. We usually tend to forget this relationship due to our self-centeredness and our services towards other forms of living entities in the form of trees and animals are overridden and who also have equal rights to share the universe. Another key takeaway to be noted here is that we think by executing one's occupational duties as service to God by performing with utmost dedication and endeavorness, and think that if this leads us to a heavenly planet, then we are in delusion. It is clearly mentioned in today's verse that only if work performed leads to the satisfaction and pleasure to the Lord, then the Lord grants the fruitful result by promoting to higher planetary world. This holds true even in this mundane material world. We all have experienced that we are promoted in our workplace only when we satisfy our higher authority by a sincere and dedication to work. It is very detrimental for one's spiritual growth if one is ignorant of how the nature of laws are functioning under the supervision of the Supreme Lord, and people who do not understand this are labeled as Muhudaha by the Lord and declares in Bhagavad Gita 7.15, which states that Na mam dushkrito mudaha prapadyante naradamaha मायाय प्रहज्ञानः आशूरं bhavam आश्रितः, which is translated to be those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the artistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. The whole world is enchanted by three modes of material nature. Those who are bewildered by these three modes cannot understand that transcendental to this material nature is the Supreme Lord, Krishna. In this material world, everyone is under the influence of these three gunas and thus bewildered due to being ignorant of how the nature of law is functioning and thus simply progressing to the darkest region of the material existence. So I conclude here for today's session. Thank you very much. Please forgive me once again for